Hello teachers and students, Ruth Wellman here, Education Coordinator for centrED. In these interesting times of homeschooling and online classrooms, centrED is meeting the challenge. Over Term 2, we will present a series of online workshops and performances tailor-made to your students with connections to curriculum and SACE. We have been working closely with local artists and curators to make a program across dance, drama and music that we hope will be both interesting and educational. We hope you enjoy what we have made. For further information, go to www.adelaidefestivalcentre.com.au/learning, and don't forget to sign up to the centrED e-news for further announcements. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Lazaro Numa here. I'm a Cuban musician. I'm known from playing Latin jazz and Cuban music as well. I've been living in Australia for 8 years and here in Adelaide for over 2 years now. I grew up back in the streets of Havana, where I come from, listening to a lot of the great jazz players such as Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, Freddie Howard, Clark Terry, Ray Charles. Listening to songs like En in Tunisia, Mambo In, Manteca, and something really caught my attention by listening those songs, and it was how syncopated were the versions that those guys were playing. And at the same time, I was listening to songs like Guantanamera, like Chan Chan, like Son de la Loma, and I realized that there was, at the time, not really something in between the jazz and the Cuban music. I think they're both pretty linked. And I'd like to play a little bit to you guys today on how I've been approaching to Latin jazz in the last years I've been living here in Australia. So when I was listening to songs like En in Tunisia, the first version I listened to it was by Arturo Sandoval and Dizzy Gillespie playing together, and it was a great mix of how a Cuban musician come together with an American musician playing a song, and they're both sounding amazing in that version. Then I heard songs like Manteca. And at the same time, I was listening to songs like or songs like. One other song like this one, for example. So that's why I'd like to talk to you guys today. So a bit about syncopation and how we can play around a little bit with a song that we are knowing and taking it into the Latin style and bringing all that syncopation into it. I hope you enjoy. So the idea is to talk a little bit about how we can take a melody that we are familiar with. It might be from a song that it's been playing in a completely different style than Latin music, and we're gonna actually bring it into any of the genres. For example, I come from Cuba. In Cuba, we have lots of different music genres, such as son cubano, cha-cha-cha, mambo, bolero, danzón, pilón, Mozambique, and all those rhythms are meant to be playing in a different way, but they're all very syncopated. For example, if I play a song like Guantanamera, which I played it before on the intro part, it goes like this. We can play with that melody, and if I'm playing that with in a Latin jazz concert, I would sort of do something like this: 1, 2, 3. Now, the key is understanding how we can add to a little bit of syncopation. So, for example, that melody, we can pick the first part, pa pa ra ra ra, Guantanamera. That's how probably most people that are not familiar with the Latin rhythms and syncopation, they probably play it that way. 1, 2, like that. 1, 2, 3. But I would do it this way: 1, 2, 3. Playing. So I'm actually anticipating some of the notes and delaying some of the notes. And you can do that your own way. You don't have to do it the way I do it. But if we analyze that, pa pa ra ba ba, that first note is on beat 1. Pa pa ra ba ba. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang, ba, 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 ba. And I'm doing 1, 2, 3. Bang, wa, ba, ba, ba. So I'm actually playing a little bit with a melody, playing around with the melody and changing the rhythm of it. Now, if we go to the next section, be, ba, be, be, ba, de, be, be. That's how much people will play it. 1. I will do it like this: 1, 2. Now, if I put those two together, it will go like this: 1, 2, 3. Now, it might sound, when I play without rhythm, it might sound like I'm actually a little bit loose on time. So I like to use a song cubano bass in here that you can hear how it goes. Like that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's how most people are going to play it. But if we, in my case, most of the musicians back in my country would do it this way. Now, if we pick another song, for example, Over the Rainbow. I like to play that with that rhythm as well. Now, another very good thing to do is analyzing not only what you're doing on your instrument, in my case, a trumpet, but I also try to listen as much as I can to what the other instruments are doing. So it's important that you know what the piano is doing. It's important that you know what the congas is doing in this case. It's important that you know what the claves are doing, what the hand cowbell is doing, what the güiro is doing, what the maracas is doing, what the singers are doing, what everybody else is doing. And that will give you a better idea of how you can actually play your part, right? Let's think of another song, for example, A Night in Tunisia. So when I'm playing that, I'm actually thinking what's happening on the percussion, and all I can hear is like tick 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 tick, and that already suggests me a different way to play. It will be something like this: 1, 2. And the next part. So the way I'm playing it, I'm using a lot of anticipating a lot of the notes and or delaying a lot of the notes. It makes heaps of sense when I'm playing. Let me see if I put a example. That's an afro. The next part. And then so on. Now, if we're playing that in, let's pick a different rhythm like cha-cha-cha, for example. Like that. Now, let's take a really quick look to the first phrase. 1, 2. Because I'm keeping that in my head. Pick, pick, tick, pick, 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 I start playing around that. Huh? So now I like to play a blues, and I'm gonna play on the blues style, and then I'm gonna play like swing, and then I'm going to the Cuban styles. Right? So that's the style I use if I'm playing it that way. But if I take the same blues into a Cuban rhythm, for example, let's say I'm picking a son montuno, like this. So I'm taking a solo in there, but each solo is different. So if I play a little bit again of the blues in a swing, it would sound like this. Actually, I'm going to do it in a Latin swing. So here you can hear the difference. In there you can hear the difference between playing the blues in swing and then playing the blues in the Latin style of music. So basically, try to think how you can anticipate or basically that delay notes. So you don't have to even play the whole song. You just like take maybe like a couple of bars of like a song that you know, like let's say, for example, Over the Rainbow as I played before. One, two. And that's basically how I take a song that most people are familiar with, that been played maybe in like, I don't know, swing or trad jazz into the Latin thing and add all the syncopation elements to it. So I hope you find that helpful. So now in this part, I'd like to encourage you to come up with your own ideas, and I'd like to go back right now and play the blues I played before. And I come up with a simple, very simple melody in a syncopated way, which goes like this. So that was a very simple melody that I come up with playing that blues. And then after I play that melody, I can start trying to solo on top of that in a syncopated way. So my advice to you is try at the beginning to do it quite simple. Don't throw in a lot of notes. No, I would do something like this. So if you listen to the melody I come up with, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, pa. So I'm actually delaying the note in the 1, 2, 3, 4, pa, po, pe. So 4 N, 1 N. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 N. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 A. 1, 2, I'll play it again with the music. Then the other thing I'd like to say to you guys is like, think about what the other instruments are doing, and then you can actually throw notes to this. So if I do it like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, That's what the congas is doing. And then if you think of the bass, for example, in a Latin song, we're going to go. Try to, like, in the trumpet, if you're a trumpet player or a sax player, try to replicate that. 3, 4. And then start putting more notes to it if you feel like it. 3. That's what I would do to create a little syncopated song. So as I mentioned before, it's regardless you are a trumpet player or trombone player or sax player or bass player or percussion player, it's good that each of you keep an ear open to what's happening around you with the other instruments. In this case, I've picked 4 chords, and I want to show you all the different things that we can do with it, and also how the other instruments are happening in there. So we've got A minor, we've got C7, we've got F7, and then E7. Do it again. A minor, sorry. C7, F7, E7. Now, the first thing that comes in my head is like, when I think of that, I hear something like this. Then that way, we can do something like. And straight away, I start thinking of ideas of taking that into a different kind of rhythm. For example, the Cuban music, the syncopated rhythms, we can do a montuno like this. That's one way. We can do this. Or if we're playing in something like a cha-cha-cha, for example, we go. That's how the piano will be doing. And then we think, what would the bass be doing? The first thing I played was like a walking bass. And I'm imagining the drums in there doing the string thing. Now, if we take it into the Cuban music with the montuno, we have 2 ways of doing it. We can do it like this. And the bass will be doing this. And that's actually quite syncopated. Like if you can hear 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then each time when it changes the chord, it actually hits the 4. And 4, 4. Then that's one way. Also, we could do something like what I showed before. Then we can play with the time in there, right? Then the bass in here is doing pa ta that's if we pick those 4 chords, we can do so many different things. But basically, if we are going to be playing like Latin jazz or any of the Cuban rhythms, or even like let's say that we're playing a merengue or bomba or cumbia, all those music genres are very syncopated, even though they are not from Cuba. They're from Colombia, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. If you think of a merengue, for example, 1, 2, 3, that's the main rhythm that you're going to be hearing. If you're thinking of a samba, for example, you hear then the drums. That's actually, if you think of the clave, that's quite syncopated, and that's actually very similar to the Cuban clave, the 3-2 Cuban clave. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now we also have the 2-3 clave, which is syncopated as well. 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2. And we have the rumba clave as well. Pa, 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 now, that's what the piano will be doing. So if I play, let's say that I'm playing here a salsa beat. Four, 4. That's one thing. The other thing was this one. Then let's sing that we're playing a cha-cha-cha now. So they are completely different styles of music. Now, a good thing to do is thinking apart from the piano. So I just show you how the bass will be playing those lines and how the piano will be playing those lines. Now, what else do we have? We have congas. Then we need to listen carefully to what the congas are doing. In this case, the conga will be doing something like this. So I'm not a percussionist, I'm not a piano player, but I sort of have a rough idea of what all the different instruments are going to be doing, and that gives me an idea of how I should play into these styles of music. So when I hear something like this, the really clear thing I have is like pa, ting ting, kung kung, ping, pa, ting ting, kung kung ping. That's what I hear. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back, ting ting, kung kung ping. I do it again one more time. That's what I can hear, right? That's on the congas. Now we have other instruments. That's actually quite. If you think of the pattern that it's doing, it's chaka 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 chaka. But the accents are here. Chuku pa tika ting ting pa ta chuku pa tika ting ting pa ta kung kung king. And what's that? 2. So the first one is on beat 2. Chiki pa. Chiki pa tika ting ting. That's on 4. Chiki pa tika ting ting pa ta. So you analyze that, and then you realize that a lot of the elements when we play these Latin rhythms, some of them are like quite straight, some of them are quite syncopated. Then we have something like the maracas, for example, and this is very straight. It goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, of course, other people will play in different ways. Like, for example, the maracas can also be played like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's another way of playing it. I personally prefer the one that goes straight. So if I think about that, all I hear is like chak, chuk, chak, chuk, chak, chuk, chak, chuk. 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm hearing. That's pretty straight. Now we have the whirl, which goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. One. So that one is pretty straight as well. Then we have the clave, which is a bit different. 1, 2, 3, 4. And while I'm playing the claves, I'm actually imagining what's happening in the other instrument. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or what the piano is doing. I'm imagining all that, and all those kind of things, like even the claves, the piano montuno, is very syncopated. So if you're going to take a solo in a song like that, you should actually consider doing it in a syncopated way, so it's actually going to match what the piano, the bass, the claves, and everything else is doing. And then we have the handbell. It goes like this: 1, 2, 3. And when you put all that together, this is how it sounds. Now, if I play the trumpet a bit over that, it will go like this. Now, if I keep playing that, I will do what each of the instruments do individually. So we start with the maracas. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the other way of doing it is this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the maracas. Now the whirl. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the claves. It goes. Now, while I'm playing the claves, I'm also thinking how it should be soloing. Even I don't have to get the trumpet, I can sing something like this. And then I do the same with any other instrument. Now we're gonna do the cowbell. 1, 2, 3. Now the congas. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the piano. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Now the bass. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's other modern ways of playing those montunos. This is one of them, for example. So excuse my piano playing, I'm not a piano player, but I can sort of, have an idea of how the piano montuno will go. And if I do a montuno like that, the bass line would also change and we'll be doing something different. So going back to the 4 chords we were working before, if I play a montuno, that kind of montuno, I'll be doing something. That's a completely different line. So I hope you find that helpful, and I'll see you in the next bit. So now for this section, I'd like you to think about all I explained to you before, and I'd like you to come up with some kind of exercises. I'll give you an idea. For example, if the bass is doing 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, the rhythm there is like pa, 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 pa. I want you to think of something. If I pick the trumpet, for example, 1, 2, 1, I'm just going to get one note, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, We could be doing that. And then, of course, for us brass players, we can actually think of if we're playing, let's say, A minor, which would be B minor for us. 1, 2, 1, 2, And then we can start changing those rhythms. We can do something like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you practice the let's say scales or something, you can do it in a syncopated way as well. 1, 2, 1, 2. And we can even do it like triplets kind of feel. 1, 2, 1, 2. Or you can even do for us brass players, for example, we can practice like exercises like long tones. 1, 2, 3, 4. But what about if we start that on the offbeat? 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. 1 pa, 1 a, pe, a. Or anticipating. That was delaying the note. Now we can anticipate it. 1, 2, 3. So we can practice different type of rhythms, trying to think of how you can anticipate the notes and also delay the notes and make a combination of that and play maybe with like little part of that can be playing right on time, and then some part can be anticipating on another part delayed. So when you listen to a melody like this, it's got all of that together. 1, 2, 1. Thank you. For this last part of the workshop, I'd like to invite you all to listen as much music as you can. If we think of bands not only from Cuba, which is where I come from, but let's say that you want to listen to some Latin music, you can actually have reference such as Poncho Sanchez, or if you want to listen to Cuban bands, you can go and listen to Buena Vista Social Club. You can listen to Benny Moré. You can listen to Perez Prado with the mambo. You can listen to Orchestra Aragon playing all the classic cha-cha-chas. Or You can also listen to Ray Charles' version of songs like Boogaloo songs that he's got, and try to analyze each of those songs that you've been listening to, and find the places where you can actually get to say, this is actually not two completely different styles of music. They've got like common points in there that you see the relation between one and the other. I invite you also to listen. The jazz. The Cuban music is full of like improvisation, so we actually think that that's pretty much like a really good exercise, and we feel we're very related to the jazz as well. And you can listen to Ray Charles, Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, and by the way, if you listen to recordings of Charlie Parker playing La Cucaracha, we also play La Cucaracha in a different, little bit of a different way, but still it's all music. So I invite you to listen to all that, and then if you can transcribe as much as you can of what's happening in there, and analyze what's the drums. Maybe the version of Charlie Parker, he's got a drummer playing the Latin feel in there. But then if you find a La Cucaracha version by somebody in a Latin rhythm, analyze what the congas are doing, what the piano is doing, what the bass is doing, and then put all that together. And then you don't have to stop being and expressing yourself the way you normally do it, but the more you learn, the better it's going to be for you, and the better it's going to be in, if you find yourself in a situation that you're playing with musicians from other parts of the world, you don't feel like fish out of the water. You actually can integrate to them and play with, the same feel that they're playing. So thank you so much for joining me in this online workshop. I hope you're all, staying safe, and I hope you learn and took, good stuff out of this. You can follow me on my Facebook. You will find me as Lazaro Numa, on my YouTube channel also as Lazaro Numa, or Instagram. And I'd like to finish by playing a little Cuban song which is called Chan Chan. Thank you so much.